All right, we're gonna get the meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first application is Z 2024-32, Mark A. Gilbert and David V. Gilbert. This was continued from last month, and a continuance is now being requested for, Rich, is this being requested to be pushed to next month?
Just the next month. Should be the last one.
Yeah,
This was just,
so the
this
standard.
was a rather complicated case because the history of this particular property was very, very complicated. So we started a hearing and it was a mess. We stopped the hearing mid-hearing to do further research because it was apparent that neither the applicant nor the township had all the relevant information. So the research entailed going into, when I say archives, I mean just old boxes up above Public Works in the, going down to the Court of Common Pleas for old orders from the 90s that weren't digital and looking up files. There was land development plans that reflected lot consolidations, but did not have corresponding consolidation deeds. So nothing matched up. We had to do a lot of research to just get the underlying facts. We're there negotiating a stipulation. We're close, but we're not there yet.
You don't have to sell me on it. Yeah, July, so I make a motion to grant to the continuance for the July 16th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. July 16th. Yes. Oh, my God, I jumped right into it. Now we gotta do a roll call real quick
Certainly. Mr. Pasquale.
here.
Mr. Silk. Here. Mr. Burzes. Mr. Sheridan.
Here.
Mr. Antebelli.
Here.
Mr. Falcone. Here. Your zoning solicitor and zoning officer also present.
All right, next up is application Z 2026-06, Bayard Anderson of 6 Boo Road. They are also requesting a continuance till the July 16th meeting. Or is anyone here on behalf of that application?
They're both, they were both scheduled to be out of town and the township doesn't oppose that.
Right.
Their counsel was retained relatively recently.
Okay.
For the record, I did receive a letter dated May 19th from counsel John McShay, representing the applicant requesting the continuance because of their unavailability. And I believe township solicitor has conferred. So we'll make this part of the record and request the continuance.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to approve a continuance to the July 16th meeting for application Z 2026-06. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Next up is application Z 2026-07, Beth Benner, 770 Inverness Drive, Westchester, PA. Pertaining to the subject property at 606 Summit Avenue. Applicant is seeking variance relief from section 172-34B1 and special exception approval of section 172-141F to allow construction of a single-family dwelling on a non-conforming lot. Applicant also requests relief from any other sections of the zoning ordinance that may be realized during the zoning hearing process. Subject premise is located in the R3 zoning district. Thank you. And who do we have on behalf of this application here? And you have, I guess, one witness that we want to get. We want to get them sworn in now, just to. And do we have anyone here as a party protestant or making public comment on this application? Oh. As a public comment, party protestant? Okay. Okay. And- Well, we'll get to you. I just wanted to make sure we, after we hear everything, so we will come back around to you, Mr. Coleman. All right, and is the file in order?
Mr. Chairman, the file is in order. Township prepared notice and mailed that notice to property owners within a 200-foot radius of the subject property. That notice was also submitted to Delco Times to be advertised on two separate occasions. And we also physically posted property with notice of tonight.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, in view of the representation by our zoning officer, I'd ask that the application and any accompanying documents or evidence submitted by the applicant be marked as Township Exhibit Number 1, that the list of residents being notified of tonight's hearing within a 200-foot radius be marked as Township Exhibit Number 2, proofs of publication of the advertising of tonight's hearing and the Delaware County Daily Times on 2 consecutive weeks be marked as Township Exhibit Number 3, and that the picture of the proof of notification posted upon the subject property for this evening's meeting be marked as Township Exhibit Number 4.
all right, all accepted and, all right, ready to get started. Floor is yours.
Public property that all we bet. On 6 of the bet. Like. Yes. And what's your relationship to the property?
That is now the lot that is in question.
Okay, I'm going to show you an exhibit which is marked P1 for identification. Can you describe to the board what that exhibit is?
This is the deed of the lot.
Conveying the lot from you and your wife to your mother, Beth.
Yes, so we moved it over to her.
What is the purpose and intent of this application?
So we'd like to build a small ranch style modular home, not more than 1 story, very modest, something that really fits in with the neighborhood, something that is, obviously needs a variance, but very minimal. So my mom is looking to retire soon. She just hit the age of 65. So our 3-year-old, and then obviously we're planning on having more kids along the way. So having her retire next to us would be a great help for us. It'd be great for her. She really wants to be involved in our kids' lives. And again, just having something that's very modest, fits in with the neighborhood. It's very, again, not a 3-story home. It is very, as I said, we want to put a lot of shrubbery around it. It's a great location. So we think it'd really work out well just for her, for us, and make sense for our family.
Thank you. That's all I have for Mr. Benner. Question from the board?
Not yet. I mean, not for me at least. You guys had renderings of what?
Yes, I have
Going
the engineer on the project. He's right behind me. He's
Okay. Are you gonna be moving around at, just wondering if you want to get him a handheld mic to, we'll get you, just in case, because he's gonna need that as well.
Try to be as brief as possible.
No, you're fine. It's,
Mr. Commando, could you please state your name and professional address for the board?
Yes, Joel D. Commanda. I'm an engineer with Inland Design at 16 Haggerty Boulevard in Westchester.
Are you a registered civil engineer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
Yes, I've been a civil engineer in Pennsylvania for the past 20 years, working primarily in land development in southeastern region of Pennsylvania.
Have you been admitted in Newtown Township as an expert engineer with training and qualifications involving the intensity and uses of land?
I have. I've testified before this zoning hearing board once. It's been a few years ago now on a zoning matter.
At this time, I would offer Mr. Commando as expert civil engineer with training and experience in the field of land uses and intensity.
accepted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please describe the location of the subject property.
So the property is located at 606 Summit Avenue. This is the western edge of a sort of a dense residential neighborhood. As has been mentioned, it's a vacant lot currently. It slopes generally towards Summit Avenue fairly gradually. And that's the overall location of the property.
What is the total area of the lot?
It is total area of 7,808 square feet. It's roughly 60 feet wide and 131 feet deep.
The width does vary from front to back a little bit.
That's correct. It's a little narrower in the front.
And what is the property zoned?
It's zoned in the R3 residential district.
You describe what are the intended improvements you made on the property.
Yeah, so as you can see on the exhibit, I'm not sure which exhibit this is. I apologize. Give this. label.
Yes, this is exhibit P3 for identification.
Exhibit B3 shows the proposed development of the site. The house is to be located in the center of the lot. Setback just over the required minimum setback. It's to be 26 feet 8 inches wide, 60 feet long. And there's a proposed driveway along the southern side of the house to provide parking for the lot.
Now, the subject or the intended structure is shaded gray on the plan.
That's correct.
That's the lot.
Yes.
And to the right of that lot, that's where,
Yes, that's Mr. Benner's lot, who just testified at 608.
and those structures are existing.
Correct.
What relief is being requested?
So there are two areas of relief. The lot is a existing nonconformity as a lot, both because it is, does not meet the minimum lot area required for a new proposed lot, which is 12,000 square feet, instead is 7,808, as was testified. It also does not meet the minimum lot width at the street line, which is 80 feet. Instead, it is 58 feet 93 existing. So both of those are existing situations with the existing lot that are nonconformities. In order to develop a nonconforming lot, a special exception is required from this board. So that's the first relief that's being requested. And then there are two dimensional variances that are being requested. The first is with regards to the minimum building area. A 20% building area is allowable, and the applicant is requesting a 20.6% building area, including the area for the shed.
Is
And
that
the
minimum
house.
building area deviation, is that de minimis?
It is, it's less than 3% of what the overall allowable is.
And what is the second variance you're looking for?
So the second variance that we're requesting is a side yard variance. Because the lot has a narrower width, it's hard to fit the house on without getting the side yard variance. We're requesting the minimum side yard setback is 15 feet. We are requesting a minimum of 13.6 feet. And the aggregate side yard is 35 feet. And we're requesting an aggregate of 32.6 feet. So there's sort of two parts to that variance.
Yeah, so the deviation in the aggregate side yard number is approximately 2 feet 4 inches.
That's correct.
And do you consider that to be de minimis?
I do.
Could you describe the uses which surround this property?
So it's surrounded on three sides, the north, south, and east, by residential uses. As I mentioned, it's at the edge, the western edge of a defined neighborhood that's full of a wide variety of single-family homes of various sizes, both lot and house sizes. And then to the west is the Newtown Square Corporate Campus, which is a commercial use.
Is the proposed home similar in intensity to the surrounding uses?
It is, it's comparable in size to many of the homes in the neighborhood. As I said, there's a mix of home sizes, but it is very comparable there.
Will the grant of the variances, and again, special exception, should I say, because we're here on a special exception because we have a non-conforming lot. Will the relief requested alter in any manner the essential character of the neighborhood?
No, it will not.
Will the proposed home be prejudicial to the character of the immediate vicinity or be detrimental in effect on the neighboring properties?
No,
Will the grant of a variance in any manner impair the appropriate development or use of adjacent properties or be detrimental to the public welfare?
no, and the surrounding properties are all already developed at this point.
I'm going to show you exhibit P4 for identification. What does P4 depict?
P4 is a schematic of the proposed home.
You describe the home just in general terms.
Yeah, so this is a single floor residence, 26 foot 8 inch wide and 60 feet long, designed for living all on one floor, and contains several bedrooms and living, kitchen space, and bathrooms.
Do you have a number on the total square footage of this home?
The total square footage is 1,600 square feet.
Will the grant of relief in this matter in any manner impair the appropriate development or use of adjacent, that? Is the proposed home structure suitable for the property in question?
It is, yes.
And with respect to suitability, the design, the construction, the maintenance, would that be in harmony with the appropriate appearance within the community?
Yes, it's going to be a well-constructed home, well-maintained, very much in conformance with the surrounding neighborhood.
You know what type of siding this home will have?
That's not something I'm familiar with. Not something I'm familiar with.
Are there any environmental constraints which would be adversely impacted by the construction of the home, including topographical, soil, drainage, or any other environmental features?
There are no sensitive environmental features on the lot currently, and the home will go through the standard erosion sedimentation control and stormwater to meet all township requirements.
Does the property have any slope to it?
It does slope gradually towards Summit Avenue, but there's no steep slopes on the property.
Will the grant of variances substantially increase congestion in the public streets?
No, this is a single home in a already
Hold on.
developed
Hey,
area.
guys, just in the back, can you just go out if you're gonna talk?
Will the grant of relief increase the danger of fire or otherwise endanger the public safety?
No, the home will be built to all current fire code and safety standards.
Will the grant of relief overcrowd the land or create undue concentration of population?
No.
Will the grant of variance relief in this matter adversely affect transportation or unduly burden municipal services such as water, sewer, school?
No, it won't. As mentioned, transportation wise is a single family home. It is intended for a retired couple. And the property has already received indication that the public services have capacity to service it.
Will the proposed home affect the character of the immediate neighborhood by failing to conserve values of existing buildings and encourage most appropriate use of the land?
No, it won't.
Will the grant of a variance increase the danger of flooding?
No.
Do you believe that the requested relief is de minimis in both cases?
I do, yes.
Did Beth Benner, the applicant here, did she create the hardship that you were dealing with tonight?
No, we're dealing with an existing lot that has existed for many years. And she's simply trying to build on this lot.
Does the proposed plan provide off-street parking in compliance with the zoning ordinance?
It does. There's a driveway proposed along the right side of the house. The required parking is 2 spaces for a single family home. And this driveway has, along the 60-foot length of the home, you would have space to park 3 vehicles without extending into the front yard at all in any way.
Now, for a point of clarification, the building coverage includes not only the principal structure, but also includes the shed, which is noted on the plan?
That is correct.
That's all I have, thank you. I would move for admission of exhibit P1, P3, and P4.
They're admitted. I am curious, just in the layout of the house, why are you looking for the relief on the Coleman side there, that you're going 13.6 there, but on the side where you guys currently own the house?
The intent was to put the driveway on the side facing the Benners, and the entrances to the house are on that side as well, which promotes access between the 2 homes. And so in terms of locating the house, that's how that got located. It's set off the driveway, the minimum distance it can be in order to put stairs in to allow access up to the house level. So that's where that setback, how those setback distances were defined.
And I'm just design wise looking at it thinking, okay, it's a driveway for one person to move into, correct? If the driveway were to have stopped at the front there and shift the house over, I just feel like it seems odd to push it towards the house you don't own, looking for the relief there versus where you're at. And also it's a pretty excessively sized driveway for one car.
I may respond.
Yeah.
Consideration of putting the driveway on side of the home contiguous to Benner's home is that a driveway typically will cause more influence to the contiguous property owner versus a side yard, which has no improvements. But we have potential for cars moving in and out, potential for grandchildren or recreating on the driveway, would not cause as much of an impact to other property owners.
And I am curious, so Mr. Coleman, that's your house to the other side of it? And you sure you don't want to go on as a party protestant, which would give you the ability to appeal any decisions you make? I'm only saying it because I didn't realize when you were here that was your house directly next door. But if you do go on as a party protestant, it does give you the ability to ask questions based on the testimony that they're giving. Just not that I'm offering legal advice, but he probably should go on as a party protestant, right?
It's up to him.
So do you want to go on as a party protestant? Yeah. Okay, so we'll get him. So at some point, you'll be able to come up and ask questions for the witnesses that have been up here, so.
I have exhibits for him.
Sure. Actually, why don't you come up? You can sit here next to Mr. Sikora. He's. Rich, can you just make sure the mic's on for him too? Thank you. Uh,
You have all these?
no, he hasn't been. We'll get you. Yeah, let's get him sworn in.
That's fine. You swear the testimony you give truthful. nothing.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. First name and family.
Richard.
Richard.
Is,
Yeah, you're good. Are you turning?
You mentioned it's a modular house. Is that one of the reasons, or is there another reason why you wouldn't propose a 24-foot wide house versus a 26 and not need the side yard relief?
The layout of the house was designed so that Mrs. Benner could age in place and that it could meet her needs on a long-term basis. So that was the house that was in collaboration with the home designer. And in terms of the models they had available, that was the one that was suitable for her needs on a long-term basis.
Or a 3-bedroom house?
Correct.
How's a 3-bedroom suitable for a single person to age in place?
That's it, out of my area of expertise.
Do you have any?
yeah, so I would say that, if she has, so my brother doesn't live in the area. So if he wants to come visit, he would need a bedroom. He's got 2 kids right now. Obviously we have 1 child, right? So say she wants to go over, say my brother comes down. It just offers the flexibility that she has. And again, something that is, relatively, de minimis within what we're looking for, but at the same time has the flexibility to also have company over, things of that nature.
Is there any potential to have a shared driveway? Just to, again, shift over further from the other property?
I would have to look into that. I think the driveways are not wide enough to allow 2 vehicles to pass each other, so it does become a, an access issue. And I apologize, I'm not familiar enough with township code on whether shared driveways are.
I would also suggest that you're probably opening an issue. If either one of these houses are sold, now you have issues with shared driveways and rattling property lines, easements, things like that. That may not be conducive to many people.
No, and that's fair. I am curious, we're the ones that are talking about how close it is to Mr. Coleman's house. What's your concerns or what's your take on things?
I have lived in that neighborhood since 1973. The original owner of that property, both lots, was a Mrs. Teresa Colby. The last owners of the lot were Mr. and Mrs. Bonner. When the Bonners sold the property, actually when they did the last renovation on the property, which is the driveway that you now see and the garage that you now see that is actually on 608's lot, okay? Because 606 lot doesn't exist. I don't know how they got a mailing address on a lot that's never been developed. But besides that, at that particular time, the reason the lot that we're speaking of, the undersized lot, which is between the 2 existing homes, that was offered to me at the time when the Bonners were looking at selling. And I was just going to buy it and use it as open space. But when I researched the lot, we did a lot of the sewer work that was done in the Heights back in the early 90s. We did not do this particular sewer. That presented a problem when I did a research on the Bonner property because they kept it as 2 separate lots. They were originally told when they did the last addition to the existing home, which goes back to the 30s, they were told that if they incorporated both lots together, that the tax base would be too high on it, so they kept them separate. They had offered me that piece of property, and she gave me an offer that was phenomenal. I was just going to keep it as open space. But when I found out where the sewer came in, we did approximately about 35% of the sewers that went into the Heights back in the late 80s and early 90s. My father, or I should say the family company, we did most of the sewers in St. Albans years back. My concern was when I did look at the plot plan from the county, I realized that not only was there a light post in that lot, but there was also a sewer in that lot. And so that meant an easement would have to be placed. I somewhat differ with the engineer's arrangement as to where this easement is located. He does show a portion of the sewer, but I'm pretty sure the sewer runs fairly close to almost 1/3 of the existing lot. Then basically makes a 90-degree turn and then goes into 608.
Okay.
The one concern that I do have is that if this lot were incorporated into one, if both of these lots were incorporated into one, the addition of, if you want to call it, in-laws quarters would meet all the township requirements with no problem. And you wouldn't have building on top of building. But that's not the case that has occurred here. The other concern is the fact that there is a misnomer on this drawing where you look at Walnut Street. The section of Walnut Street that starts at the so-called north corner of my property does not exist. The township gave it up almost 20-some years ago. It was a paper street. It never existed. Okay, that piece of property now, that section of Walnut Street, is split between myself and Mr. Seymour, who is the next property on the other side of what they're referring to as Walnut.
What was his name?
Seymour.
Even, and I don't want to cut you off,
Yeah,
just with
no.
all that aside, just to kind of rein it back in here, because the concern being, seeing something like that constructed there with the variances they're asking for, right? The side yard setback or an actual home being constructed there, all the sewer stuff aside, which will be things that they'll have to essentially deal with if they're going to build something, right? You have actual, like, just from something being constructed there that you don't want to see? Do you have things you would prefer to see happen if there's going to be this house next to
Well,
you from
Which one's this?
any sort of plannings to separate it, or?
Now, my concern is the fact that it doesn't fit the rest of the neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay, as far as that's concerned. We've had some new construction that is going on
Yeah,
within the Heights recently. And now we basically have, where you used to have approximately about 50-foot worth of differences, you know, in certain cases have less than 10 foot. Okay. You're also dealing with a neighborhood that deals with homes that go all the way back to the 30s. And were added on. That section of Newtown Square was originally owned by the Presbyterians. It was basically a summer campground. And then over the years, starting especially in the 40s and the 50s, people started buying lots.
no, and I will say, like, in all the time that I've been doing this, that a lot of cases come in for the Heights, and look, for the different, every house back there is different, right?
Oh, yes,
So,
they're all
to
different.
talk about a change in the character of the neighborhood, they are all very different. My concern here, aside from all that, is if something were to be built there, right? Because in previous cases, we know that we'll say no to something, it makes its way to the county and it gets built because somebody's really not going to stop someone from building on a completely separately deeded property. I'm not saying that's the case, but trying to keep it while it's still here and say, hey, look, if this is to be built, what would you want to see happen, or what would you want to see change? I'll be honest, looking at this, I'd be very curious to see a rendering of what this house looks like. Because when I think of a modular home, it makes me think all of a sudden I'm turning it into a tiny trailer park of houses, and that's just my.
Well,
take.
that's the concern that most of the neighbors.
But is there any renderings of this house to physically see?
But it's typical modular with it.
I'm not going to go off of the typical look. I would rather see a rendering of this.
The roof line.
Yeah, so it's, again, very modest.
Listen, I'm not gonna, I just don't want to waste your time explaining it to us because without actual pictures for us to see as a board, looking at all this here, and again, speaking to changing the character of the neighborhood, I would rather see what it looks like.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think what Brett, if, Mr. Benner expressed this point, way they're gonna put it in, it's gonna look like a rancher because of the grading, and it has a pitched roof similar to a custom home.
Yeah,
I have a front porch. Want to do that? We thought that looked better than just that. Again,
What about the roof line?
it's just, again, with
The
the,
ridge down the middle?
yep, again, with the window there, we thought that would look the best, again, keep the best character of the neighborhood.
Will there be grading to the house? So that will be grading, so it'll look like a rancher.
We're gonna put a flower bed out front, we're gonna put shrubs on both sides again. We're close there, we wanna put shrubs there. On the other side, just trying to make it look. Context.
Well, the context of the neighborhood is basically colonial 2 stories.
I know there's a mix there of.
Oh, there is a mix.
Yeah,
I mean, to be very honest with you.
no, I know,
I mean, that was the old Presbyterian campgrounds
yeah,
back in the 20s and the 30s. I mean, my home is considered a 2-story colonial.
yeah.
No, please,
I think what we're saying is, we need some kind of rendering to see what you're gonna put. It's difficult for us to imagine what you think it's supposed to look like. We need to see it so that we're comfortable with, you're gonna be as close to a mixed neighborhood as possible.
I do think that'd be fair to
Oh, yeah,
Mr. Coleman next door to see what is being constructed aside from just looking at a floor plan doesn't seem. And typically that's what we see. I mean, people bring in the renderings of what's going to be built. So that,
It is a very mixed neighborhood, sir.
I know, well, I'm just for your side. And again, it's just, I think it's something that even for me on the board, I would like to see.
my apologies for the oversight, not
No, it's-
putting, elevation in. Can I ask Mr. Coleman 1 or 2 questions?
Please, yeah.
Mr. Coleman, the driveway is depicted, is situated between the proposed house, 608, and your property is on the other side. Would you have any preference that the driveway be put on your side?
I would prefer the driveway not on my side.
Yeah.
And sir, what's the width of your lot before the vacating of Walnut Street?
The width of my lot originally was one of the originals. So it was approximately about 100, I believe it was 100 foot by 175. At that particular time, from what I understand, when the Presbyterian Church was selling it, the grounds off, you could buy a lot that was only 50 foot wide by 100 foot deep.
All I have.
You have
Can
it.
we Continue this, so we can bring it back.
We can bring elevations in, because I think that's an important consideration for not only Mr. Coleman, but for the board itself.
Well, and if you are going to bring in elevations, again, for your side of things, what is something you would want to see in that, right? You're the neighboring house. Are you hoping to see a fence there? Are you hoping to see shrubs there? I'm just
Well,
trying to get things
now,
out of the way.
I do have a fence that
Okay.
runs. Because
There's
of
just
the
things
fact-
you've seen in the past. I'm trying to knock them out now.
Yeah, I have a 6 foot vinyl fence that runs there because of the fact that there is a swimming pool that's on my property.
Got it.
And that was approved by the township about 20 some years ago.
Yeah, I just
Excellent question.
think it'd be fair to see something.
Right.
Are you open to continuing to the July meeting for that?
Yes, it's an important consideration for this board, so we're happy to bring back elevations and
Yeah.
continue in July.
Sorry to push it out. I know,
We have pictures, I guess, as needed.
well, because you would want to see it shown, they'll do an actual formal rendering to.
That's correct.
You need building area. Variance. Yeah, drawing. Building area, site on the drawing is 174. That, according is very good. It's sure.
No, we're not. That is, should just be for building coverage, so I may have the wrong section there. I do not have the ordinance in front of me, but I will respect your wisdom on that one.
So, really, if that's the proper, issue.
Yes,
The last one, obviously. Right, Joe.
correct.
Wanted for the record.
Thank you for thank you for the clarification.
State my suggestion.
Absolutely. I'll take this information and get it to him.
We'll continue to the July 16th meeting.
July 16th.
Is there, I'll make a motion to continue this application to the July 16th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For the record, just for the record, we do not oppose the continuance.
Okay, all right. Sorry, guys, to push it out, just make it better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
An update on the score, right?
Oh, yes, thank you.
We now have application Z 2026-01 for El Car Wash. This is continued from the May 21st meeting.
Let me see. Where'd you I have, so, I have, let me look, where'd you? I said.
Have all of them.
Okay, all right, well, that's good. Evening.
Good evening.
We have yet more exhibits, so let me hand you another package. So. I will then call it rebuttal, call it whatever you want, but we haven't had. Well, then I would like to reopen my case, add the additional information that we created as a result of last month's discussion.
Let me see what the.
Well, Rich has told me he's not gonna put any witnesses on, so Whatever you want to do.
We have our party protestants here, three. Mr. Trio, anyone, is it just you?
And Jake, Olympies had a baby boy. So he's not gonna be here.
They're just,
How about the way, do you like the way we arranged that?
Yeah.
Tom, why don't you at least come sit up here? So you're closer. So Tom's Trio is our only party protestant then that's here today, so.
Good to see you, Matt.
Pleasure. May as well sit with Mr. Sikora over there.
Yeah.
Speaking to the lapel pin. I know.
Good to see you.
So how do we want to proceed here then?
I will not be presenting an expert tonight. I do not object to Mr. Kaplan putting in the additional evidence. If the board agrees that it would make it smoother, because then we can ask questions if needed, and then Mr. Trio could put his evidence on.
For me personally, no evidence, just, I've submitted some considerations to move forward with this. Sure, this would be a statement or a closing, that would be fine, yeah.
No, just,
Not yet. The board would have to render a motion and consider the application of the applicant to open the record for some additional testimony that was created by virtue of some of the comments made by the public last listing. So.
yeah, well, and
Could I ask,
yeah,
Mark, what topic is this on? What subject matter is this relating to?
So it's two things, Mike. We had some inconsistency between our plan level landscaping plan and our projections. So we've straightened that out. We've also refined the architecture. Remember, we had the last minute, we had put the building on the front, and I don't think any of us were in love with that. So we've enhanced that. I think more importantly, remember, we had a lot of discussion with the neighbors, and we went and met with the neighbors. And we took our traffic engineer out, concern St. Albans Circle and what the effect of this traffic would be on it. So we have a plan, conceptual plan of how to make traffic improvements to St. Albans that we think will address some, if not all, of the neighbors' problems. So we would like to present that. We would like to say to the board that if you ran our application, we would implement that. Let me do the lawyer words. We would work with the township and the neighbors to design what this shows conceptually in our later plans so that we could have the township have its input as traffic engineer and hopefully ameliorate some of the concerns, most of which exist now. So we reached out, Abe reached out, met with the people, had our traffic engineer go out. We tried to answer questions. So really those three things in terms of additional.
They ask if the part of.
that's what I'm curious, Mr. Trio, are you okay with reopening the? Because they,
Based upon what he just represented.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No objection.
Okay, it's okay.
is the board motion, do we have to make a motion to
I'll make
reopen
a
or?
motion to allow him to, the applicant to reopen the record for the purposes just described by council.
Or a second? Whatever, all those, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Check the box.
For the record.
Hand up.
Thank you.
Guys don't mind, can I give each one of you split to two? Because there are gonna be people who are gonna want it. Like to hand it out.
Oh, you want us to share one?
Yeah,
Sure.
sure. Mine.
I actually do. No, I'm just kidding.
Can you tell me when you're ready?
Sorry, 6 million.
Grab the handheld one.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah. What are you doing?
That's for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Just for me.
Okay, great. All right, so may it please the board. Going to have some additional testimony, not too long, from Kate Weiss, our civil engineer, and some additional evidence from Kevin Savage, our traffic engineer. So Kate, let me ask you a couple of questions. In response to the comments and the concerns that were raised by neighbors near the property, did you further, I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong one, excuse me. At the last hearing, you were testifying about the proposed landscaping plan and the landscaping rendering. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And there were some inconsistencies between the landscape plans and the rendering.
Yes,
correct.
that's correct.
Okay, have those inconsistencies been resolved?
Yes, they have.
I'd like you to look at exhibit A17. Is that A17 right in front of us?
Yes, A17.
Is that marked?
No.
If
but-
not, we'll mark
can
it
do
at
that.
the end. Okay. So please describe what is shown on A17.
So A17 is a revised landscape plan. And on the right and the left of that are colorized renderings of the revised landscape plan. So on the right, this was a prior exhibit. Prior exhibit A12. And then on the left is a colorized rendering of the landscape exhibit A17.
Okay, and so you've got three drawings in front of you for the
Yeah.
record.
Yep,
And the one on the left is a colorized one, which is the revised drawing.
yep. Consistent with A17, yep. And so we really didn't change too much on this. There's two revisions to note. One is we added additional evergreen landscaping at the northeast corner of the property. We heard the concerns about the screening from the nearby residences. And in later testimony, I'll be able to show you, we cut sections through that part of the site to be able to show what the visibility would be and what the proposed landscaping is relative to 1 year and 10-year growth heights. So basically at installation and then within 10 years to be able to.
Well,
Yeah.
to that.
So additional evergreen plantings here. And then there were some minor updates to the landscaping on the south portion of the site adjacent to Westchester Pike, but that was really just species selection and some minor changes there. We still have buffering along that frontage and along the west side, consistent with what we had before.
Let's go to exhibit A18.
Okay.
You put that up. That's
Yeah,
multiple.
so A18 is a number of exhibits.
Right.
Right, so let me work through that. And then I also want to reference the prior elevations that were formerly exhibit.
Well, I want to, there's enough drawings to reference now, but let's leave the prior drawings out. Let's deal with what was changed.
Yeah.
And what is the current one.
Sure. So this is A18.
Wait a minute, Kate. We're gonna mark that A18.
Yep, there are a number of exhibits, like actual drawings that are part of A18. This is one of them.
Okay,
Yes.
so sitting in front of us now, you've marked A18 are some elevations. And I'd like you to go through them slowly and show the board what we've done, because there's been significant enhancement.
Yeah, so you can really see it in the.
Well, you're gonna have to move around because you're
Yep.
blocking the board's view.
Okay, understood. So we've got the elevations here, so you can see the south elevation. This is really where the change happened on the south, and also you can see
Now,
on,
stop for 1 second.
Yeah.
There are 3 drawings there, and you are referring to the one in the middle.
correct.
It's marked A18. Why don't you mark that A18-1?
Okay, A18-1. So for A18-1, this is elevation drawings. And you can see the building proposed, the proposed view of the building on the south side, that's the upper left. And then moving to the right, this is the north face of the building.
All right, I want you to stop there.
Yep,
You also have a big blow up to the right of that. That is that front elevation, is it not?
yes, that's the south view of the building, the view from Westchester Pike.
So just refresh people's recollection. How has this been enhanced?
So the proposed building addition, which we brought to the last meeting, that is what you see here in the upper left-hand corner. That's what you see on the right side of this. I'm gonna mark it A18-2. And you can see that we brought in the windows and improved the facade overall to be able to give a better look for that part of the building addition.
Okay, so that's the improvements of the facade from the front from
Correct.
Westchester Pike.
Correct. And then I'm gonna continue marking for the same view, similar view, A18-3 on the left, which is again,
It'll let the board see, you're gonna have to move over to the other.
again, a view of the building addition, from closer to the intersection with St. Albans, from Westchester Pike. And we have more.
Now, just so we're clear, and you said you're gonna get to it later, but this landscaping that is shown on this plan, supposed to be realistic, tell us about that.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're showing on this plan is landscaping that, it's a 10-year growth height. So that's what we're showing on these renderings are landscaping, after 10 years. But what we can also give information on where that lands at 1 year and 10 years. as a
We'll
point of
get to that
comparison.
after,
Yeah.
but I don't want to
Okay.
mislead anybody.
Yep, so this isn't full growth, and this isn't installation, this is at 10-year growth.
Okay,
But some of the species get to this height very quickly, so it's not far off from installation height.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next, rendering.
Okay, so there's one more, this is a similar view. I don't know that we need to have them all, but yeah, this is
Yeah, but I wanted to mark each one with a different number.
18.3,
So I know it's A18-1, what was A18?
18.2,
Was the Westchester Playview?
yeah,
Yeah,
There's a
it's
couple on
three
Westchester Pike.
Westchester. Three, there may be 4 Westchester Pike. too.
so, and then here's another Westchester Pike view.
I want to make sure I missed the, I know AAT2 was the direct view right there, right?
Two, yeah,
AAT3, which one?
this one, we're kind of working our way to the west.
Okay.
Yep, and then this is A18.4, which is also from Westchester Pike.
If are we able to just keep it down? We have a stenographer that can't hear what everyone's talking.
And then A18.5 is also from Westchester Pike, but again, a little bit further from the intersection at St. Albans.
So that gives more of a view looking down St. Albans.
Correct, and these are existing trees that are to remain. They will experience additional growth, but they're being protected and maintained. And then in addition, they're supplemented with new landscaping as well.
Okay, so we've gone through the first 4.
Yeah,
Just show us the next one.
okay, which view is the next? Did that. Movies.
It's opposite the driveway.
Okay, so this is, we're gonna mark it A18.6. And it's the view of the west facade of the building. You can see the proposed drive-through, the proposed parking area, the proposed refuse, and the west facade of the building, as well as the landscaping proposed along that west side.
So what you have shown from Westchester Pike, all the way back to the entrance, is there are no, everything's inside the building, is it not? All the equipment
Yeah,
is inside the building.
correct. All the car wash operations, including vac enclosures, that's consistent with the plan that we presented last month, that it's all
Okay.
inside the building. Correct.
But I wanted everybody to get the picture and understand it. If we go on then to the next drawing.
Yeah, so we'll mark this one A18.7. And this is the view from St. Albans Circle.
It almost as if you were standing on the circle in the middle of the street.
Correct, and maybe even a little more elevated from a perspective view than where you would be if you were actually physically standing there.
And again, that shows,
So this is the roadway, right? So this is the circle. So this is, you can barely see it, but this is the west side of the building. And then you can see the existing trees along St. Albans here. And then this is the proposed vegetation that's part of the north portion of the site. And you can't really see the north face of the building where the tunnel is, but you can see part of that drive-through where the car is right there.
but it's far off.
But right.
Okay. Let's go on. Okay, that's it, isn't it, until we get to
The
the
site
views
section.
from St. Albans?
You mean the site sections? So these are all the
That's
renderings.
all of the, I think that's all of the renderings until we get to the sections.
Correct, till we get to the sections.
So now we're going to go to exhibit A19. That is 2 sheets.
3 sheets, right?
Is it 3 sheets?
Correct.
I'm sorry. It is 3 sheets. Now, I think you should take some of the other stuff down.
We're taking it all
Because
down.
This is important to a lot of people. This is St. Albans and what we're suggesting be done with regard to the St. Albans Circle?
These are the site sections, correct? Or we jumped into the traffic exhibit?
Now, I want you to do the site sections first, and then we'll have Kevin testify
Okay, great.
about the traffic aspects of this.
Okay. So we're gonna mark this.
19, 1, 2, and 3.
A 19-1, which is section AA. A 19-2, which is section BB. And A 19-3, which is section CC.
Okay, now, people in the audience are not familiar with this kind of drawing. So very slowly, tell us what each of those drawings does. Got a top part and a bottom part.
Yes. So in the top part of the drawing, you can see the plan view. So that's looking at a site from above, looking down the aerial view. And in yellow, you can see across here where a site section is cut. So the line in plan view shows where the elevations are cut. Down below, we have what we call a profile or a site section that cuts through the site to show existing and proposed grades. So the elevation of the land through that. And it also gives you the understanding of scale of the building, the existing building, and also, you know, where there's building addition. The relative grade, so the ground elevation, and then the existing and proposed landscaping.
But let me interrupt you.
Mhm.
So the top and the bottom are of the same area, but in different views.
Correct.
And
Well,
if you go over
yeah.
to the right-hand side of the drawing, in the plan view, see the roof of the building, and in the profile,
That's
see
where the building mass
the
is.
wall of the building.
Yeah,
So that's so that people can see. This is as close a rendering of actual conditions afterwards as possible, is it not?
correct.
It takes into consideration the actual topography from basically the middle of the circle all the way to the building.
Correct.
And then from the plan view at the top, it shows as if you were looking down from a drone or an airplane.
An aerial view, yep, looking
There.
from above.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, I think I belabored that, enough. Now, do you want to go through each of these and just briefly say what they show, and then we'll have Kevin talk about the traffic aspects of this.
Sure. So the first section on the left, this in plan view, you can see that the yellow line is cut through the north portion of St. Albans Circle. Where generally vehicles will not be having this view, it would be for people who are standing in the circle because vehicles are headed the other direction. And then cuts into the site to the northwest building corner. And the view from this, where you can see how the site is screened from the right of way by the proposed landscaping that's at the northwest corner of the site. In our site section, we're showing the trees that are basically at installation height, so 1 year. And then we're also showing in gray how large those trees would be anticipated to grow to within 10 years. So you can see that over that period of time, those trees are going to grow and provide additional screening. But from car level or pedestrian level on day one, the proposed landscaping offers screening up to and above the height of a person.
You want to go to the second one?
Yep, and so just as 8 to 12 feet is the approximate height of the landscaping at year one. And that's going to grow to be 12 to 25 feet within 10 years. So it'll just increase from there. section BB, which is right in the middle here. This is also St. Albans Circle. So from the south side of the circle, we wanted you to be able to see the impact, throughout the circle so that you could see how the screening's incorporated. It's a view from the south portion of the circle to, again, the northwest corner of the building. And then similar here, you can see the vehicles for scale, and the proposed landscaping that's generally within that section. And the proposed trees in this area range from 10 to 20 feet height at 1 year and go up to 12 to 35 feet in height in 10 years. So again, the darker trees down below are the 1 year, and then the shaded trees that go much higher show you where that could be within 10 years. The third site section, section CC on the far right, this view, so we heard concern about the residences that are to the northeast of the site, and we wanted to help. We did talk about it in testimony, but we felt like a visual representation would be really helpful to explain what the view shed would be from that area. And then while doing that, we also noticed that there was a little bit of a gap in the landscaping. So that's why we came back to add the additional evergreen screening in that area. So section CC is from the area of generally the first residence to the northeast corner of the building. And you can see from street view along roads where the cars are here, cutting through this section, you can see the existing tree canopy, which, is not necessarily there year round. So we acknowledge that, right? And wanted to make sure that in the understory area, we're also providing evergreens. So there's evergreens that you can see here at the 1 year installed height and then the 10-year height. You can also see the grade change. So we had talked about that as well. So that offers a visual screen where the grade drops off in this corner of the site down to the building. So the perceived height of the building is actually it's less than what it actually is because of the grade change.
Yeah, I
So-
think she's just about done.
So Rhodes Avenue is approximately 8 feet higher in elevation at the northwest corner of the site than the drive aisle and the building. And then, in addition to that, the trees on day one or year one would range from 8 to 10 feet in height. And at 10 years, they're going to be closer to 15 feet. So in addition to the 8-foot grade differential, you also have a minimum on day one of an additional 8 feet of screen, which will grow to 15. So you've got significant screen height from there, where the existing building is about like 20, it's close to 23 feet tall, 24 feet tall.
Mr. Trio?
My question was regarding elevation, so you said on grade.
The grade differential from where the building finished floor is
Yeah.
to the grade on roads is about an 8-foot grade differential. And then, right, which the lowest of that would be 8 feet, but it would grow up to 15 feet at 10 years and keep growing beyond that, to full growth. You're welcome.
I have no more questions for Kate.
Thank you.
Questions from the board?
If you don't have any questions.
No, I
Thank you.
This is, we went through all this before, this is just updating what you've done.
And that's what we've done.
This looks good.
Just because of that rendering conversation where it looked like a park between circle.
Okay, so Kate, you were leaving up there. We have Kevin, our traffic engineer. Kate, you were sworn, you know that you were under oath when you testified.
Correct.
Thank you.
I
Kevin-
wasn't sworn in again, but
No, I don't need,
continuation.
I don't need you. Kevin, you know you're under oath,
Yes.
so you gotta tell the truth.
Yep, understood.
Well, you know what they say about traffic. Well, better don't forget that. So we're gonna go to. You have one more drawing, Kevin. This is your drawing.
Correct. Only one exhibit.
Okay. So this is, would you identify this drawing?
you identify this drawing? I believe it's A20.
Yeah, to be marked as A20. It's a traffic circle improvement concept plan prepared by my office.
Okay. So let me ask you some specific questions and then we'll let you tell us all about it. In response to the comments and the concerns raised by the neighbors near the property, did you further evaluate the traffic movements entering, going into, and exiting the St. Albans Circle?
Yes, we did.
And I've shown you, and we've identified Exhibit 20. Now, please describe what is shown on 20. And just remember, it's all, people are not familiar with the kind of drawings, so.
Yep, understood. And so on this drawing, on the left side of the page is an aerial view of the St. Albans Circle, showing St. Albans Avenue, Rhodes Avenue, and Chapel Road. The Chapel Road, those approaches to the circle. On the right side of the page are just a couple of construction details. So as part of this exhibit and hearing the comments and concerns of the residents at the previous hearing, our office reviewed and the applicant is proposing some measures to calm traffic and slow down speeds in the vicinity of the circle. And that's going to specifically be done first on Rhodes Avenue, approaching the circle from the east.
So that's Rhodes Avenue, okay, to the east, coming towards the circle.
Correct.
Not going down.
Correct.
St.
The east side of the circle, Rhodes Avenue. There was some concern about vehicles approaching that circle, not stopping or slowing. And additionally, the pedestrian crossing at that approach to the circle. So in response to that, we are proposing a mountable curb island, which will essentially delineate the inbound and outbound movements to the circle. It provides, a visual buffer to vehicles. So right now, they approach the circle and it's just open road. That'll provide a delineation for vehicles entering the circle, similar to the northbound approach of St. Albans Avenue and the eastbound approach of Chapel Road. Additionally, it'll allow pedestrians to essentially make a two-stage crossing. So there'll be, a median there for pedestrians to potentially wait.
So is that if somebody's walking down St. Albans and coming to the circle and they're gonna walk across roads, I guess, to get to the other side, you're gonna build something in the middle just in case somebody gets stuck in the middle?
Correct.
The
There'll be a mountable curb island with a pedestrian cut through, which will allow, essentially provide an additional safety measure for pedestrians using that crossing. Additionally, we are proposing on this exhibit 4 speed tables or speed humps. One is located immediately south of the circle along St. Albans Avenue, approaching in the northbound direction. The second is located immediately north of the circle for St. Albans Avenue, approaching in the southbound direction. The third is a little bit further north on St. Albans Avenue, approaching Woodcrest Avenue. And the fourth is on Rhodes Avenue, slightly east of the circle. And the intention of those speed tables or speed humps is really to lessen the speeds of traffic and provide a traffic calming measure that requires vehicles to slow down as they're on those roads.
And it gives people an incentive not to come and use this as cut through.
Correct. And additionally, as discussed with Mr. Trio, the applicant is amenable to installing a 5th speed table or speed hump on Ashley Road, just north of Rhodes Avenue. It's off the page here, so it cannot be seen on the exhibit, but it's just east of where this aerial cuts off.
Is there anything else?
Yes, the applicant.
What else did Mr. Trio get out of it?
So the
business shaking
Yeah.
So make it look beautiful.
You know him.
I know.
Is there anything on Chapel Road? No speed tables
There's
there?
there's nothing proposed on Chapel Road, and part of the reason for that is the number of driveways on that approach.
And I don't know what could be done there, and I will say, because I received a letter too, which they still have to submit from the owner of From the Top, who's concerned because of the people that are there that still cross that street to make their way over to the sweet spot. So I don't know, again, I'm not sure what can be done there, but it is an area of concern for all the, I guess, young students that they have there that do make their way over there at times, that like something should be addressed there, right? It seems like every other street was given a little bit of love and nothing to Chapel.
So let me address it at this point. I want to make it clear. This is conceptual items that we are willing to do.
Right.
The township has not had a chance to weigh in. There are regulations that we may not know about, but we are committed to do this for the equivalent. You know, assuming we get past this proceeding, we will work with the township, the traffic engineer, Mr. Trio and his neighbors. I think this is a good thing. This is an enhancement, so we like it.
I mean, again, with that being in the mix, I do think that, again, every other street around there is getting something. I know that this is something that the township still has to look at, but I have to point that out, that there's nothing there on Chapel Road in terms of adding something in there. And I don't know, again, don't know what that looks like, but just asking for that, and I'd rather get that on the record.
You would reference the, letter?
I do, which I have to,
I haven't either, I know you're. talking
Yeah.
about those, so- Who offered it that? Yeah, if you could.
Yep.
Please talk about the, local business zone, dance school, she said that.
Oh.
What do you say?
she's concerned about the safety because they have all their kids that are there that make their way from the Top Studio and across the street to Sweet Spot. So they do cross over Chapel Road to get there from there. So correct. It's,
Something on Chapel.
The applicant's willing to install an additional speed hump.
that's all. I just want to get
But
that
it-
on.
It's fair to give them a copy of. the
I will.
letter, So we'll
It's
get
very
copies
wrinkled
there.
up because I put it in my pocket.
Make it part of the
later.
record.
So, and we did receive another letter, which I'll just get from Funny Hairs too. So we'll admit this into evidence as well.
And then also in discussions with Mr. Trio, the applicant has agreed to repair and replace the curb, gutter, and sidewalk along the site front, along the southern side of Rhodes Avenue site frontage leading into the circle. A lot of that's in disrepair, broken, and the applicant is willing to replace that.
But you'll be out there working anyway.
Are they willing to replace the Christmas tree?
Currently Snoopy one up there.
I have no further questions for Kevin.
You guys have to turn your mic on too. I don't have anything, so there's no need. All right.
From the township.
Thank you, Kevin. Unless the board's got questions for Kevin.
No, I asked mine with the Chapel Road, but
Thank you.
and even for Mr. Trudeau, you want to get anything as a closing statement? I mean, if you don't have any witnesses to call or.
You say some, are you all wrapped
Done.
up? Yeah, I respectfully request that the zone board and the prosecute for consideration. Part of the process. Those improvements would help veteran safety, traffic flow, strengthen the aesthetics, overall quality of life. Taking our corner,
Thank you. Mr. Kaplan, any?
I don't think I've got to make a closing. I
Yeah.
think we've satisfied technical requirements a long time ago. I have a wonderful client, as you've met, who's just flies higher than most and is willing to do all of these things and runs that kind of business. And I think he'll be a wonderful addition to this community.
You guys have come back every time with changes from each previous meeting. I get it. So I said you guys did a good job every month making the changes that were requested, so.
Captain, before you go, I think you want to offer your additional evidence to,
I appreciate it. But to the extent that we haven't offered them all in, I'd offer all 820, all 20 exhibits into evidence.
Admitted. And how do we want to
well,
proceed?
Rich.
So-
Rich's comment.
Just from the township perspective, just, point out it's the board's job to look at all of the criteria in section 172-13, which you're very familiar with. That's the special exception criteria. You got to weigh the evidence and make sure the applicant has met that evidence. And then there's additional criteria, 172-117, because this is the car use. So you got to make sure the evidence weighs against that criteria. I'm not in a position to negotiate, or I'm not asking for anything, but what I believe is that if you're inclined to grant this, I believe a list of conditions were mentioned throughout the hearing. And I just kind of want to make sure either A, they're captured, or B, there's no confusion if it's going to go that direction, because sometimes that happens. And we don't want any confusion.
Whatever that record says, we
Yep.
said, we're in.
Well, I think there was a couple that may have been just a little confusing, so I just.
Okay,
So I know one condition was just hours of operation. And when I looked at the record, it bounced a little bit. It said 7 to 8 sometimes, 7 to 9 sometimes, and on Sundays, sometimes 8 to 8. I just wanted to kind of, do we have like a firm hours that you could put on there and say, this is what the hours of operation are? Let's come back and ask for a change.
7 8, Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. tonight. And then Sundays, 8 a.m.
What's your, I wasn't here the last time. But I just get to see this.
So, hold on.
Yeah.
We will get to it.
Is there a reason that Sunday's not, so that's a big casualty for you?
Number two that I had was,
He testified last week.
I wouldn't hear.
number two that I had was maintaining double doors. Maintaining double tunnel doors on the north and south of the car tunnel. And if those doors are not operating properly, after a reasonable amount of time to be able to fix the problem, you'd stop operations until they were fixed.
We agreed to that, right?
Yep. Another one, I believe, was if the neighbors complain about a sight or sound of the operations, the applicant will have a consultant meet on site and coordinate and look at reasonable measures to address those complaints.
But just to analyze those complaints.
Yeah.
And to see the nature of them.
And to see if there's a reasonable fix, like if there's an extra tree or
Yes.
4 was no detailing services are going to be provided on site. This is just the automatic wash. Except for queuing. Like, obviously, cars got a queue on site, but all operations will be inside the building.
That's correct. We described it a number of times.
The applicant would cooperate with the community a few times a year for some shutdown periods. Specific that came to mind was there's a 4th of July parade. It's kind of the AM one. I think it might be July 3rd this year. I'm not sure of that, but so, there's the 4th of July parade. I know there's a Christmas tree lighting that's on an evening. I know there's a circle, sundown in the circle or something that's done. So just a few events like that here, you'd cooperate and shut down so it's safer for the people. Let's see. Okay, the A20 was a list of traffic circle and traffic improvements. So in addition to what was shown on A20, There was two more discussed, so it would be a fifth on Ashley and a sixth on Chapel.
Correct.
But, you know, as Mr. Kaplan pointed out, the township has a process to evaluate such traffic improvements and traffic control measures. It's very complex. They talk to other members of the community. So if there's going to be a condition such as that, we would just ask that that condition be expressly state that it's the traffic improvements will be the applicant's responsibility. But yeah, part of land development, but make it such that it's similar in scope, but not exact, because it's got to coordinate with the township. Okay. But similar in scope. I believe there was a condition of no sale of food, drinks, or cigarettes. Agreed to. I think Mr. Edelman elicited that testimony. No sale of food, drinks, or cigarettes. I think the most recent the most recent site plan was A11. If it's the most recent site plan, A11, Mark.
But I think but I think the plan that we showed tonight is probably,
Plan has not changed.
okay, okay.
So-
Then you're right, Rich.
Okay, so the site plan consistent with A11, unless modified by the landscape plan at A17 and also compliance with the architecture and consistent with A18. Generally consistent with A18.
Yeah.
So just making sure because it's changed a couple times along the way. It's A11, A17, A18. And then the traffic improvements, it's A20 that we discussed with the addition of Ashley and Chapel. That's the list of conditions that I saw.
Week one,
Yes,
Mr. Trio and Mr. Shookman heard the noise in the back when we talked about hours. So we modified those hours. Monday, it's that Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
I gotta just to jump in here, because that Monday through Saturday, 14 hours a day for the people living there, that's a bit excessive. I think even looking at the hours at Suds that they open at 7, I think realistically, and I think for what everybody's already willing to give up here, for me personally, I look at it and think 7 o'clock. I mean, giving you 12 hours out of the day is a lot. And asking people to go till 9 is, and I think it should be till 7.
Well, Monday through Saturday, you have 100 locations open after
Yeah, but you are in a residential neighborhood type atmosphere, you know.
We've given up a lot.
You have, I'm not saying that, but I think this is a thing where this is,
I think I can do 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. I think 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sundays.
can we hear you, we do, I'm trying to hash this out.
Right.
I think, look, if that's your best, that's fine, and that's what we'll take back to our conversation. So, because we're gonna have an executive session, and it seems like aside from everything else, this is one of the things we're hearing the most noise from the back on. And I think, look, you guys have been great. I'm not disagreeing with you. I said that every meeting you guys have come back and have made all the changes. Again, I get it that if you're living back there and look at it and go 14 hours a day, I'm gonna have cars coming in and out of this car wash. It's a lot. I don't think that's fair to the neighbors. But again, that's fine. If your breaking point is 7 to 8.
You're talking about 14 hours. You had traffic.
What's their lease?
You had traffic.
What's their lease?
report.
They limit the hours.
Say when the traffic is concentrated.
I get
And
it.
it's not fair to say.
I understand that. I think the look of it of just thinking of all the cars coming through the neighborhood at that time, I'm just, we're hearing from everyone here. I mean, that's who we're here for. So,
The only other thing I say to them is there's no overall limitation on any on businesses
that's,
in townships. I mean, there's, in fairness, we should be treated just like anybody else. We are a permitted use. You
I know this,
demonstrated-
it's our first car wash we're dealing with. So you're asking for a special exception, and we're just asking for you to work with us on some of it, so.
It's the first thing I've heard, David, to me,
I know.
no to.
Yeah, and again, I am not. I know you guys have done it a lot. You've come back with every ask and you've done a great job presenting it. Again, just looking at this and seeing the way everybody's responding, this is, this is a big deal, so.
Then the draft information, then it hourly. You look at the hourly comp study information. 7 AM to 8 AM, 9 AM, obviously. 7 AM to 7 PM, 8 PM. Move on.
It's fair. I mean, that's a fair response to say, don't do it. Why fight over this little piece of it? If we're gonna go back and have this executive session for everything that we've been through and talked about, that this little piece here, and I get it, you're looking at it saying, hey, you're now trying to take 7.5 hours a week away from us being open. But again, if it's that slow and it's making our residents happy, why not consider it? I'm asking to say,
Do it. I understand you're frustrated. We'll do the deal tonight if we can all.
hold on, let's not, all I'm doing is having,
If the guy keeps meeting,
guys, we do have, hey. I know, but we do have to keep things in order. So, look, we've heard the testimony. We can wrap this up. We'll go have our executive session. All right, we will. I'm gonna be very clear here because we're gonna do public comment. 3 minutes. You've taken advantage the last 2 times and we need to get this wrapped up. I'm just being clear because we're not gonna go over the time and it is public comment.
People are here to still.
Okay.
Wait.
I'm not, so you're going into your public comment then? No, you're not running the meeting. This isn't your meeting to run. But that's what I'm saying. I'm going over the rules for public comment. If anybody wants to step up and make public comment, you are open to do that. What I'm saying is because the last couple times you have been here, you've exceeded the 3-minute warning that we've given and have gone on to present and way more than just public comment. And we were very, very kind in the last 2 meetings. I'm just asking you to respect the 3-minute warning, especially if everybody else wants to get up and make public comment. We're open to it, but
I was just about.
we're not doing the thing where we say we're sharing our minutes.
I'll give you a 12 for 1. We don't get a 7.
It's the other thing, any additional public comment, because we have done it at the last 2 meetings, would only be based on the testimony that's been given tonight, if you're gonna make public comment based on what you heard here tonight. We'll get to public comment. I mean, if you do have stuff and you want to get up there, we'll let everybody go up and make public comment. I don't know why if you guys want to get in line for public comment, please line up. That's fine. And just when you get up, just state your name and address, make sure the microphone is on.
Push the button, it's green.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. Hi, Kevin. Thank you very much on the board. Thank you for all your service.
Guys, can we keep it down because we do have to get this on the record?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Thank you very much for your service and thank you for what everybody's been putting in on this.
And please, can we just keep it down so we can get this on the record?
Sorry, I've not been able to make other meetings. Finally made it this evening. My name's Tom Sabatino. I live at 105 Ridgefield Road. I've resident of this township for 41 years, 3 months and about 5 days. Who's counting? Okay. Seen a tremendous amount of growth in this township over those 41 years, living over there in the St. Albans section. Okay. Would like to comment. One comment that came to mind listening to the traffic report, the comments about putting in that, I'll call it fixed island on Rhodes Avenue as it leads into the circle. I think you're a little remiss there because you've obviously missed seeing the full-size tractor trailers that come up off of Westchester Pike, make a right onto Rhodes, or come up the other way on Rhodes that access the driveways to behind the businesses on Westchester Pike, especially to deliver fruit products. Also, those same tractor trailers that will go over onto Newtown Street Road to deliver food products, and then also the Chapel Road. In your 41 years, there's no way in God's grace they're gonna make that right-hand turn on the Rhodes Avenue if you put an island there. I've seen them now when I'm approaching that circle and they're coming on, okay, or coming off, they swing way wide into the opposite lane to be able to make that turn. So I think you need to revisit that, all right? The other thing is I'm concerned that putting the speed bumps in there is already gonna bollocks up what is existing poor traffic. Okay, in that area. Having lived there 41 years, and it's not just during the holiday seasons or those specials, busy weekends, the traffic flow over there through that circle, Rhodes Avenue, Newtown, Chapel, etc., is horrendous, okay? Yes, there is a speed issue. I think if you add speed bumps, you're gonna thwart customers wanting to go into those businesses on that circle, all right, and in that community. I think the one thing that is needed there, it's my commentary, if you bear with me, okay? I wrote something. A little nervous. Sorry. The former Rite Aid Pharmacy site presents a rare and timely opportunity to transform an underutilized vacant property into a meaningful public asset that directly serves the needs of our community. By converting the building and the surrounding parking area into a multi-use property, combining municipal parking with dedicated green space, we can address long-standing challenges while enhancing the quality of life for residents, businesses, and visitors. The businesses there as it is today are throttled by traffic flow, etc. I have observed personally people parking in the Rite Aid lot, crossing the street to go to the Sweet Spot and other businesses, including Luigi Giovanni, the carpet place, the haircut place, etc. There is insufficient parking, hence the overflow of parking in that lot as well as on Chapel.
Time. Thank you. We are
Okay.
we have a long line to
Okay,
get.
can I
through.
offer the rest of this as for record? Without reading it to you?
I don't know how that,
There's, no,
yeah, it's just,
the record is closed. This is public comment. You can submit, you can pass up public comment.
do you have something you want to give to us? That we're
I
saying?
can give you this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good
All right.
luck. And this.
Bring it on up. Yeah, that's.
Go.
Thank you. Nearest Gunther, 131 Beechwood Road. Nearest Gunther, 131 Beechwood Road. NEREUS. Problem. All right, so speed bump's a great idea. Let's slow the traffic down. I love it. It doesn't deal with the fact that the volume of traffic that a business like a car wash is going to bring on. You can slow it down, great. Volume's still going to be a problem. I think these people are actually doing you a favor by coming here and saying, this is not a good idea. Because I can pretty much guarantee you, your customers are going to try to get in your car wash and they're not going to be able to get in comfortably. They're not going to be able to get out comfortably. They're going to get frustrated with your business and they're not going to come there. If you're here in 3 years, I'll be surprised. Thank you.
Angela McIntosh, 131 Beechwood Road. Angela McIntosh, McIntosh. I'd like to ask those who are presenting on behalf of the car wash, where on, you can choose which illustration, where in relation to that is your house?
This is just, it's public comment, so.
Okay. I just wanted to point out that we are the people who do have places that we could point out on that illustration as to where we live. And we have lived in this community for 15 years. One of the reasons why we came to this community is because it was a walkable community. I could bring my kids with their bikes. We walk and run every morning around this circle. I am able to say hello to my neighbors. We can frequent the businesses that are along that circle. We have a lot of community involvement, as we said, with regards to the organizations that are having, the Christmas tree lighting. The running club runs along that circle. All of those things would be destroyed with the erection of this car wash. So I think that we as a community are really saying to you that you're destroying our community, the community that we moved into this neighborhood for. And I'm asking you to try to put yourself in our place because we live in one of those houses along the illustrations that you presented. I'd also like to ask, because I wasn't able to be at the last meeting, and I understand this might not necessarily be the proper place to ask that, but I do want to put in front of you, since you are considering revisions and you've put forward for revisions, but when you look at the building, I'm not understanding why you're not pulling in on Westchester Pike and exiting on Westchester Pike and coming around the building, much like the car wash that it exists already in Broomall. It seems like a reasonable consideration to make that adjustment if this is going to happen, because you do not bring that traffic into our circle where our community walks, runs, goes from a dance shop across the street to a ice cream shop. Again, the things that we in this community moved into this community to take advantage of. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Anne Marie Hare. I own Bunny Hares in St. Albans Circle, right across from the Rite Aid. Pardon me? HARE. A couple concerns. I also live 2 doors up from the car wash in Broomall. I hear noise down there, the smell. Maybe you won't have a smell. We smell stuff. But as far as the circle's concerned, Paul and I were on Gather in the Circle. I'm on the board, and we feel like the circle's just finally finding its place with walkability, with the new improvements that the township did, and I feel like this is gonna keep people away a little bit. Traffic's bad, parking's bad, speeding is bad sometimes, so I don't know if it's a great addition to our small little community. Thank you.
Paul Seligson, 4727 Mill Hollow Lane, and also I'm the president or vice president now of the Newtown Square Business Association. As Anne Marie was saying, we use considerable capital, interest, and public awareness to try to get the circle to be more pedestrian friendly. And we've worked really hard at this, and the township has gone to great lengths to add channels and little green spots and to sort of slow the cars down. We've just now planted some hanging baskets inside the circle. And this kind of subtracts from all of that. So while we're trying to make it more walkable, more neighborhood friendly, more easy to, kids with bicycles going to a sweet shop, you're adding a tremendous amount of cars. That's from the Business Association. From Newtown Square and Bloom, I'm the chairman of Newtown Square and Bloom. And A17, 1, 2, and 3, which shows the frontage from Westchester Pike. It's a site plan looking from Westchester Pike into the building. We find that landscaping is really wanting. A conditional use would be to add much more landscaping so that in 10 years, there could be like little gaps in between trees or bushes that you could still see the building and the side. But in the main, there should be much more vegetation on the front of the building. And lastly, I also go to Suds down in Broomall, and I could see the cars that are trying to get back to Newtown Square. So you come out of Suds, you must take a right. And then you want to get to the left-hand arrow, and that's coming up really soon. So cars race they have to cut over 3 lanes of traffic to get into the most left-hand lane to get the green arrow that gets them back headed west to get back to Newtown Square. And I just want you to think about all the permutations and combinations that can happen with traffic. Thank you.
You need him.
Suzanne McCutcheon.
Sorry. 149 Ashley Road. Okay. The zoning board is here to represent the Newtown Township residents. And as you can see, we have plenty of them here today. This proposed plan does not meet anything in the strategic plan. Directive number 1, ease traffic congestion. 97% of the respondents of the strategic plan questionnaire strongly agreed in easing traffic congestion was an issue for the community. This was the strongest response of any of the issues facing our community. Directive number 3, encourage smart growth and thoughtful redevelopment. There was a focus on wanting communal spaces and places to connect, like the town center, and redeveloping the old town center of St. Albans Circle.
section 3.6, uniformly enforcing the zoning, subdivision, and land development ordinances. Township codes 172-13C1, substantially increased traffic suggestions on the street to such a high degree of probability that will adversely affect the health, safety, welfare of the community. This is definitely going to increase the traffic congestions. Thank you so much for trying to put in some of these other things, but the congestion that's already there is not going to get better by adding another thing. Township code 172-13C7, detrimental. If this is detrimental to other properties in the area, we just heard from the dance studio, from the ice cream shop, from Bunny Hairs. Out of the strategic plan, we got Gather in the Circle. The whole point of Gather in the Circle is to reimagine St. Albans as a place with unique identity, a place to shop, linger, and enjoy, a place for streetscape enhancement, art and creativity, pedestrian bike friendly, a community gathering place. Another thing I have is about the ITE data information. The ITE transportation information may not include the special circulation circumstances on the circle. It seems that the ITE data can predict how much traffic is generated by a new business, but not in this special circulation circumstances. We should have our own traffic engineer to provide evidence. Speed tables are a great start, but this does not ease the traffic congestion but moving the entrance and exit to Route 3 would be better. The landscaping, they should all be native. The list that was on there, I think our township requires native things in there. And would like to know whether they're going to be required to replace it after the deer eat it all. So if this variance is approved, we'll be stuck with the result. And if it's incorrect, we will all have to pay the price to fix all the safety issues. Thank you.
I would just like to make one correction. There is no variance being asked.
I know, special exception.
Special exception. It's a permitted use
Got it.
in this location.
All right.
Okay, Colette Milligan, 140 Brookside Road. I've been a resident here for 33 years, and we moved here because of the community and where we live. I use all the shops on that circle, and to have 875 cars go through the car wash in one day, how can you access anything? It's already oversaturated with cars. It would be very difficult to live in this community and access those shops. Also, I'm concerned about the original projections of the sign. The sign looked like it was bigger than the building. That sign was huge. We have laws to do with signage, how big they can be, how much brightness, the whole thing. I didn't hear anything addressed with that. And I'm also concerned about the sewage that will come from having a car wash, having the access to the pipes to get rid of all that water, and what kind of contaminants are in there that would affect our community. So I'm hoping and trying to appeal to the board that you would deny this. I mean, and the owner, I would like the owner to think, reconsider for something else that would go with the community, that would look part of the community. And you also forgot to mention that when we gather, Luigi and Giovanni's, they shut down that circle. We walk up there and we enjoy it. We see our neighbors and everything is shut down. And we do that several times during the year, besides the ones that Rick Sikora listed. There's more. So how could this all be if a car wash goes in? It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't fit in. It doesn't belong. So please take what we're saying and hear us, because we will really be affected. But I will tell you one thing, if this goes in and you have that many cars there, we will all pay. And that's right, because there will be such a jam, cars backed up everywhere in every which direction. There'll be no movement in Newtown Square, none. We will come to a standstill. And that's beside all the runoff cars that will run through our neighborhood, because they will all be looking for other ways to get through. And we would directly be affected by that. So please consider. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Julie Novak, 3533 Winding Way. Good evening, gentlemen. Tonight, I would like to just quickly focus your attention on some of the legal aspects of this application. Obviously, our neighborhood was not able to assemble a formidable legal team to counter some of these arguments. So we're not suggesting that our legal conclusions are definitively correct or even reasonable. And we're certainly not asking that you simply adopt our position merely because we have spoken it out loud. What we are asking is that the board listen to our thoughts, and if they are to be dismissed and the special exception is to be granted, that the board will take the time, either here and now, or when it publishes its final decision on this matter, to explain to our neighborhood not just that our conclusions were mistaken, but why they're mistaken. With that in mind, we'd like to submit to each board member and all the interested parties a packet that contains the basis for our conclusions and begin to draw by your attention to the first issue, which stems from the first two sentences in the comprehensive plan. In Chapter 2, Section 1, under the heading Land Use, one of the listed objectives, as noted previously, is to, quote, provide for a walkable town center. In Chapter 2, Section 2, under Transportation and Circulation, one of the listed objectives is to, quote, mitigate problems associated with cut-through traffic on local roads. There's also a couple of sentences from the Township Code that are worth repeating here. Chapter 172, Section 3 declares that the existence of the entire chapter on zoning is purported to, among other things, quote, promote general welfare by lessening congestion on the streets. Chapter 172.4 states clearly that, quote, this chapter is intended to foster development in accordance with the comprehensive plan. The obviously question we have here, as Chapter 172-13.c dictates, the board shall consider whether the application, if granted, among other things, quote, adversely affect the community development objectives as set forth in this chapter, which is referenced in C9 and A6. How then can the special exception be granted? While it may be debatable whether the additional traffic in question will make this town center less walkable, no one is arguing it will make it more walkable. As the comprehensive plan prioritizes. Similarly, the traffic engineer's own earlier testimony, the volume of traffic on the circle will increase. While that increase may not make cut-through traffic or congestion worse, again, no one can sensibly suggest that the car wash will mitigate or lessen traffic issues as the township documents so insist. The other legal issue that has come to our attention is, quote, burden of proof. It's our understanding that in zoning matters for general unprovable assertions like, quote, the project will make traffic worse, the burden of proof falls on the protesters rather than the applicants. We've included on page 5 of the packet an excerpt of the PA Commonwealth case that says as much. However, law is obviously not cut and dry.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pick up. Okay.
My name's Elliot Shalita, 3550 Woodcrest Avenue. The second issue that came to our attention is burden of, by the way, I had a gracious speech plan. I think you guys have been terrific. And when I'm done here, I hope that you have a chance to resubmit an application or figure this out. I think it's possible to do. However, at the moment, the other legal issue that came to our attention is burden of proof. It's our understanding that in zoning matters for general unprovable assertions like the project will make traffic worse, the burden of proof falls on the protesters rather than the applicants. We've included on page 5 of your packet an excerpt from a Pennsylvania Commonwealth case that says as much. However, the law is rarely so cut and dried. We ask that you turn your attention to the highlighted portion on the subsequent excerpt, which is page 6, the back page, titled Dare. It says, quote, if the protestants raise specific issues concerning safety and general welfare, and Suzanne pointed it out, the circle is a unique issue. It is a specific issue. And according to Dare, the burden then continues to be with the applicant. The applicant would be required to come forward and meet those objections. It would then be the duty of the board to determine whether or not the applicant had met his burden of proof. It's our contention that the traffic circle, by definition, a rare road feature, meets the criteria for specific safety and welfare issue, and thus returns the burden of proof to the applicant. You'll shortly hear testimony from one of our residents who took the opportunity this past week to observe all manner of aberrant, confused behavior in relationship to navigating the circle. It cannot be debated that significantly adding to the circle's traffic volume will statistically increase the number of aberrations that occur and will thus proportionally decrease safety for pedestrians, motor, and non-motor vehicles alike. If the board accepts that the burden of proof rightly remains with the applicant, then the board must deny the application on the grounds that applicant did not meet its burden. The traffic study conducted must be considered flawed in several ways. Number one, it didn't make an effort to analyze the impact of vehicular traffic on pedestrians and non-motor vehicles, given that the study took place in February with, quote, snow on the ground, according to their engineer's own testimony. It also considered only volume and time delay changes, not aberrant behavior at a unique road feature, and how that would affect general welfare and safety. In conclusion, we believe these reasons are sufficient to deny the applicant their request for a special exception at this time. Though we may ultimately be judged to be wrong in a courtroom, the arguments have enough merit that a board charged with protecting the welfare of our neighborhood ought to be able to deny the exception, particularly when one considers how clear and easily pursuable applicants' remaining options to walk away, appeal in court, or continue to attempt to make the project work with the community as a partner are for the applicant. Two final notes, someone else will read it. Would you mind? You good?
Yeah, I'm having ready. Bob Dodge, 121 Ashley Road. Dodge, DODGE. My main concern is with the traffic. I have young kids in the neighborhood, as a lot of the other neighbors do. And it's just clearly, going to make things worse around here for everybody. I'm also a business owner in the circle. They're asking for special exemptions. I had to comply with everything when I opened my business here. I didn't try to do anything. So, I also knew the name of the town. We're not in Newtown. We're in Newtown Square. So, yeah, Delaware County. That's a whole different spot, by the way. And yeah, just the fact that you're not willing to budge on your hours of operation, that sort of sticks with me. So, thanks for your time.
Mark Fedor, FEDOR 3539 Rhodes Avenue. Just a couple things. First thing is, there's been no discussion about what this is going to do to property value. And I really can't conceive that somebody's going to come look at my house and say, oh boy, I've been looking for a house next to a car wash for all this time. Thank God I found yours. I can't believe that. Speaking of the northeast corner, the sidewalk repair and whatnot, that sidewalk is already broken to a dangerous level. It certainly doesn't come anywhere near ADA codes because it's like in 5 pieces, and there's so that needs to be repaired regardless by the property owner. You're not doing any favors by repairing that because it needs to be repaired anyway. I also have from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, PA Department of Community and Economic Development, published on the internet. And I learned a lot through this whole proceeding. I just want to read to you section 6, special exceptions from this publication. It says a special exception is a use that is appropriate in terms of the public health, safety, and welfare for the zoning district in which is permitted, but is subject to specific standards and criteria and more detailed and formal review. Here we are. The MPC authorizes a zoning hearing board to hear and decide upon an application for special exception in accordance with the standards and criteria contained in the zoning ordinance, provided generally that the proposed use would not prove injurious to the public interest. So, all these legal proceedings and whatnot aside, the public interest is what you're all looking at here. The last thing I want to say is it took a very, very short time for the folks on Sawmill to chase a firehouse out of their neighborhood. A firehouse, not a car wash or a firehouse. wanted nothing to do with it. It doesn't belong here. No firehouses are in any neighborhood in Delaware County, which is wrong because you take a ride down Westchester Pike, every single firehouse from here to Philadelphia is in the neighborhood. So, you know, it's kind of silly to me that we're here for all this time when it's just not an appropriate use for that site. And I hope you guys find your way to agree with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen Grassi, 111 Ashley Road, GRASSI. Protestant, Catholic, but Protestant. Okay. Been a resident for 30 years at Ashley Road, where it's already congested from Winding Way to 252. These township already put in double yellow lines, indicating that it's a throughway because of Ellis Preserve. I just want to state that I was up at the circle on 4 different occasions. It was a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, Monday evening, and a Tuesday morning. And what I observed was Saturday morning, 7:30 to 8:30 was like about 219 cars. It was 219 cars, 14 walkers. Sunday morning, 303 cars, 16 walkers. Monday, 4 to 5 o'clock PM, 684 cars. Big difference. 33 walkers, 6 walkers with strollers, 7 kids on bikes riding around. Tuesday morning, I was there at 8:45 to 8:45, 542 cars, 17 walkers. It's pretty congested when you walk up there, especially during the peak hours of going and coming from work. We all talked about the shortcuts that cut through our neighborhood, all directed from Ellis Preserve to get to 252, to Bryn Mawr Avenue, vice versa. St. Albans to Westchester Pike, same thing. What really blew my mind, first of all, there was 1,448 cars that went through there, 82 walkers. What really blew my mind when I was sitting there observing was 49 of them cars used their brakes, slowed down considerably, entering the circle for no apparent reason. There was nothing in the circle, just slowed down, didn't really seem to get the concept of the circle. 38 of them cars came to a full stop while entering the circle. No cars around. That again, there was no yielding. 14 of them stopped while exiting the circle. Obviously, there's confusion in a circle with people that aren't used to coming around the circle. What really caught my mind was 2 of them made a U-turn, coming off Westchester Pike on St. Albans, coming up to the circle and decided, hey, I don't want to go this way, and turned right around, not even going through the circle. 2 cars. I mean, it's the pattern of people. Rules don't apply to me. That's how it works anymore. There was also 3 cars that came up St. Albans that basically didn't go around the circle, went around the, what would you say, the north side of the circle onto roads. The wrong way, totally the wrong way.
Time.
So my conclusion is, it's obvious that navigating a circle is a lot of concern for people coming in and out. It's tough to navigate through a circle. That's what I'm saying. And that traffic that's coming in there, it's just congestion. The shortcuts, it's not a good business for what's set there with the circle. You know, that's all I can say.
Thank you.
Bob Ripley, 3535 Winding Way for 50 years. I've seen a lot of changes since the lumberyard burned down and Ellis changed their pond down there. The big problem living where I do, I see traffic day and night cutting through from Bryn Mawr Avenue, going to 252 or to Westchester Pike. They all go, you know, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. Very few are adhering to that speed limit. So I'm screaming and yelling. And at my age, well, one day somebody's going to come out and punch me and get rid of me. But it's a problem because people do cut through. And with the added traffic we'll get from the car wash, I just can see them using that idea, cutting through from one place to another. I do think that changing it to entering at Westchester Pike and exiting, you wouldn't have the circle problem in my estimation. But thank you for.
Thank you for your presentation, guys. Thanks for the improvements that you're trying to make. Marty Milligan, 140 Brookside Road, Newtown Square. Thanks, guys, for your time. I think the safety issues and the increase in traffic is going to exacerbate a problem that we already have that's already well known and been repeated here so many times. St. Albans historically has been a speeding cut through neighborhood to get the pressure off from the sides, the main roads. Route 3, 252 are two of the busiest roads in the county. Renmore Avenue is one of the busiest secondary roads in the county. All these roads, all these people using these roads look for shortcuts. And St. Albans, unfortunately, is used for that vehicle. Friends and neighbors, when they hit that circle, guys, it's like this, name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. It's that bad. It's that bad. So I'm telling you, it's a real safety issue. I think the volume is going to increase in traffic. And despite all your efforts to make these improvements, which I appreciate, I don't think it's going to be helpful to the project in the end. So guys, good luck with your decision. I know do right by the community as best you can, and thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We're gonna.
May I make closing after that?
You've decided to do a closing now?
Not gonna, well, I've sat here.
Same. I turn to you. Yeah. It's your public comment. So
I'm not going to take that much time. This board knows what the law is with regard to a special exception. It is a permitted use. We have to satisfy the objective criteria of the ordinance. We have done that with our testimony. Our traffic testimony satisfied all the requirements. The traffic testimony said that in the peak hours that our traffic for the car wash will be no greater than it was for Rite Aid. And that's really. Just
let him. He didn't interrupt public comment on you guys. Let's let him finish.
That's really.
Can we? He didn't interrupt anyone else's public comment. Just this is his time. He's got 3 minutes.
That's
2 minutes
really
and 20
the
seconds.
criteria. They cite the Bray case. I couldn't cite a better case than Bray. I want to say this as nicely as I can. My client is not going away. We hope that you will grant us the special exception and that you will impose all of the conditions we've talked about. While sitting here, Gabe said to me, I'm going to try one more. So what we are willing to do is the Monday through Saturday, 7 to 7. Well, excuse me, and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6:30. That's way beyond what anybody else in the township has to live with. I'm going to try. I always have this difficulty because it never comes out right. But I want the neighborhood to know that if the board turns this down, we are going to court, and I believe that we will win, and it will be on our original application. And all these things that we've agreed to do that are not required will not be on the table anymore. I hate like hell to say it in that way. I've never had an applicant in 50 years of doing this go any farther than this gentleman did in every manner, shape, or form possible. So I leave it to the board and ask that you follow the law. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Can the township do a public
What?
comment? Just for the trip generations. I don't think Mr. Kaplan was, I don't think he was 100% accurate. There is a difference in trip generation from what the pharmacy was, what the car wash is. Now, is it evidence it was 8:11 in the traffic? AM hour, I think it was roughly 23 cars, in, PM. I think it was an additional car for peak hour. And for Saturday, I think it was 38 additional in from the existing use, which was the Rite Aid. So
If
there
that's
is,
right, I stand
yeah.
corrected.
And I just wanted to make sure it was, clear. That's it.
Is this really it?
That's it.
All right. So, all right, we'll close the record now. We'll go to executive session. All right.
I think you're months ago. I need to spell this. Go ahead.
We appreciate everyone's patience. Obviously, this has been a very, very tough decision for the board to discuss, and we did spend a lot of time, deliberating and talking about this, and we have not come to a decision yet. So we're gonna have to take the next meeting being July 16th, that 45 days, but and just could not come to anything yet. So it's just not an easy one. So I do appreciate everybody waiting around. We were hoping to come to a decision tonight, and, I hope that at least shows how much this is weighing on us that we couldn't make a decision tonight. So thank you, everyone. There will be one made, yeah. There's no more, just so everybody's aware, there will be no additional testimony or anything. When we have our meeting, it will be us rendering our decision. We have 45 days and we're, yeah.
Publish it at the same time.
It'll be on the agenda if we're gonna do it.
It'll be within 45 days of tonight, July 31st. 45 days. It's on the.
Yeah, because there'll be a couple of us joining via Zoom because we won't be around, but it'll just be us again. Well, you can watch on YouTube. I'm just saying, a couple of the members that are here will not be around, are gonna have to make their decision via Zoom. And again, it's not gonna be any additional testimony. It's just gonna be a decision being rendered then. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Meeting adjourned.